Welcome to round 4 of the National 4-Wheel Drive Trials, and this one's being held on the Waharoa Station, and that's in Taupo. Taupo is one of the tourist centres of New Zealand. Of course, out here of the 4-wheel drive trails, we're going to be on different terrain to the rest of New Zealand. If you look at the shape of the land, we've got mountains and holes all over the place. A bit of flat land round here is a rare thing. So of course the traction available from this type of surface is going to be quite different to what the guys have experienced in other parts of New Zealand. We'll be looking now at the scoring system, which is quite simple. Most of the hazards are graded. You'll see the guys have the yellow pegs on their left as they drive, red on the right. You'll get to the top, the blue pegs will be a big fat 0, which is what the guys love to see on their scorecard. Let's go and talk to some of the local guys and get their opinion as to how the track's going to go today.
Our particular land is full of little moleholes and stuff, and there's not many big hills, but it's pumice and it cuts up easy, so it may look easy at the start of the day, but once 2 or 3 trucks have gone in there and ripped big holes, it suddenly changes the track quite a bit. It lends itself to a trial. A lot of other competitors are quite jealous of the property that we've got, because we could peg millions of different hazards in various areas and still have room for more.
Track 5 is what you would call a whoopdeedoo. It's up and down and then really steep up at the end. So let's see how we approach this one from the different drivers' perspectives. First up, we've got Ray and Karen Morris. They're in the D-Class truck from South Waikato. As Karen's working the brakes as they work their way around the twisty bits. Here we go, nice and gentle. Now, Ray's not known to be that gentle, so keep an eye out here as he works his way around the Sideling. And now he's heading for the big one, and the pedal goes down. Right up over the top for a 0 on the score sheet. And here's Chase Rodder. Graham Hibbert at the brakes. Working his way through in the Commodore Powered Special. He's not wasting any time as he heads up over the top for a 0 on the score sheet. We'll see how Wayne and Jude Weatherly fare. Working their way through the twisty bits and trying to work up the hill slowly. Far too heavy to get up there slowly in that sort of truck. So let's see what Ray Racing can do. He's in the E-Class Suzuki. Working his way there with Ant hanging onto the brakes, hooking it around the tight bits. Look at that big hill, and can they get up there? No, same thing applies. Never at that speed, but at least it's still the right way up. Bruce McGovern from the South Waikato. Here he comes. He's hitting it and hitting the hill hard, standing it up, not quite over the top. So that's going to mean, well, he did get over the top. Look at this again. He just got the front wheels past the blue pegs, so that's a big fat 0 for Bruce. Martin and Philip Walton. Looking in car here with Philip on the brakes. You can hear the chat going on between them over the whoop-de-doos. And heading round the side and up the big one. Nailed it. That's our man. Woohoo! Right up in the air. Way to fly. That's another big fat 0 without a doubt. Let's look at it one more time. Whoa! Oh, what a landing. Yeah. Readjust your visor on the crash helmet after a landing like that. Yeah, even the air suspension didn't take the hump and thump out of that one. Calvin Pearce, all the way from Mount Egmont. Oh, up over the top. A little bit more of a subtle landing. And whoa, he's broken it. Well, that's the game you play. When you hit it hard, with a wheel spinning, you can break bits.
Well, I did say we could do it. We did it, but consequences are a bit rough. I think we've blown the transfer case to bits by the looks of it. There's all pissing out of it, so I think that's us for the day.
Track number 10 is a Sideling, and it's also ungraded. Now, we don't have too many ungraded hazards, but you need to get right through the course and out the blue pegs to avoid getting a 100-point penalty. You get penalised for each peg you run over, but you are allowed to continue through to the end of the course. There are 2 distinct lines on track 10, the bottom line and the top line, so you can run over 1 or 2 pegs and get 20 points per peg. Kevin Dalgety and Sharon Clark on the brakes are first up, and they're taking the low line, that's the yellow pegs on the left hand side, working their way very carefully across the slope This is not generally about speed. Any speed would generally bounce you off the hill. Now there's one peg touched, but the head of the peg didn't hit the ground, so they will be allowed to clear that. And yep, just one peg penalty, 20 points. Derek Smythe and Paul Chapman, mate, they're treating this like a wall of death, and they've got through with just a 20-point penalty. Paul Williams with Trevor at the brakes. They're taking the high line, still keeping it going. They're from Wanganui. They know all about this sort of country. Well, it might have been all right, but they've nailed a few pegs. That's 60 points. How about Phil Conwell from the Windy City? Phil's going to take the high line as well. Now, there's only one problem with the high line. It's further to fall, and fall he did as he rolled down the hill. Never mind, they look okay, so let's have another check on how they managed to do that. Yeah, just a little bit too far over the edge there. Could have elected to nail another rear peg, but hey, that was a nice landing.
We're going on a different line. We can go higher, we can roll further, but hopefully not.
Let's see what the ladies can do with this as Angeline Mead takes to the hill. She's taking the high side. She's another lady from the Windy City Club. That's down in Wellington, of course. And she nails across the top, but she's taken out 3 pegs. That's 60 points. Baldy, Ryan Bold, he's from the Valley 4x4 Club. That's the Hilux with the Rover V8. Working his way down the low side. Whoa! He couldn't hold it up there. Another casualty. There they go. Back on its wheels, holding onto the brake so it doesn't run away. Minor adjustments.
It's not good, eh? We want the interviews at the end of the blues, not at the rollovers.
Anybody think Baldy knew how to roll over? He's done it before. Andrew Graham from Whangarei in the Cowley Hire truck. Powered by a Toyota Lexus V8. Heaps of grunt, taking the high line, over the hump. Whoa, he kept it the right way up, but he knocked out a few pegs. Well, that's not bad. Only 1 peg penalty, in fact, 20 points for Andrew. Oh, what a hairy ride that is. And you can see the yellow peg there that he elected to take out to make sure he stayed the right way up. Terry to ground. Sam Pillow on the brakes. Well, Sam's on the high side. It's left-hand drive, isn't it? Now watch the rear steering here as Terry sneaks it across the hill. Very, very carefully. Crabbing it. Whoa! He couldn't hold it up there. Over he goes. Pretty gentle landing. Look at that rear steering working as he's just trying to hook it there round the peg. Well, he hooked it round the peg all right. I think he took it out with the roll cage, not the wheels. They're from the Windy City, and that'll cost them 100 points. You've got to get right through this course to get a 0. Track 16, this is a Sideling. It's a U-shaped Sideling. It's a really difficult one for the competitors because they must complete the course to avoid scoring 100 points. So you'll see the competitors choose to run over the odd peg here and there so that it allows them to complete the course. They will score 20 points for every peg they run over. So first up we've got Alan and Megan Nielsen, and they're from Mount Egmont as they sneak the home-built round the top end of the course there. Suzuki Samurai engine in this one, and pretty reliable and nice and light. You see how carefully they'll work their way down through the course because any speed at all will cause you to go sideways. And here we go, the Xtreme machine of Alan and Megan. Very, very quietly, but they've got to avoid getting caught. So they've taken out a couple of pegs already, and that's okay. Now it gets hard because they're quite steep on their side, and they failed to complete the course, so that's 100 points. Paul and Trevor from the Wanganui Club, of course, they've got the V6 Commodore under here. Now it looks like something out of Darth Vader with those eyes in the front, but his crew's giving him all the help he can. Saying, up the hill, mate, up the hill, that's what we want. Well, that's all right, all very well, of course, but there's a limit to everything. Little tap on the hand there. What does he want? Another gear? Yes, he does. It's not working though. He's out of the contest there. That's 100 points for Paul as well. How about Gary Hawken? This is just a standard SJ Suzuki with fiddle brakes on the back. So let's see what happens as he works his way down the first part of the course. The old SJ's not known for its low centre of gravity, so it's pretty hard to sneak around a siding like that and never really come to grief. A good view of the Kumo tyres that a lot of the guys are still running, but no help from the Kumos there for poor old Gary. Steve Thomason with John at the brakes in the Mitsubishi Pajero Junior. Working your way past the yellow pegs there. You see the brakes on the back of this one because with an E-Class vehicle they're allowed the brakes on one end or the other. Still holding the brake there, he's keeping it going, it's looking pretty good. Whoa! Will they hold him on that? No, they're letting him go. He's still making it, and that's 20 points for Stephen John. Here comes Kevin Dalgetty with Sharon Clark on the brakes in the D-Class home built from the Thames Valley Club. They've got the big Rover V8 in there, but they don't need a lot of power as they work down through the first part of the course. Sharon just massaging the left-hand brake there as they come gently through the pegs. They decide now that they're going to run over the red peg, take out a couple, and a bid to try and get right through here, working your way towards that last corner, and they've got to get up the hill. This is really hard on your side, but it looks like he's going to do it, and that's going to be good enough for 40 points. Ash and Heather Bajo. They like dirty weekends written all over the back of their truck. Well, it's not too dirty on this hazard, and the truck looks pretty clean. Holding it nicely. The big FJ40 is pretty heavy. It's hard to hold it there, especially with that big 350 Chev in the front. Keeping it moving nicely at this stage. Deliberately taking out a couple of pegs. Pretty close to going out of the course there. And yes, they did. That's going to be 100 points. Shannon Wellman and the Suzuki Jimny. Standard 1300cc engine. They get in there with a bit of enthusiasm, but too much enthusiasm means too much sideways. Another 100 points. Nathan Fogden. What can Nathan do from the Bay of Plenty with Graham Patton on the brakes? Come on, Nathan. Work it round there carefully. 1600cc Suzuki in this one. Looking steady so far, but they're not too easy to balance, are they? Oh, big revs and a big hook on the brake. No way. He wasn't hooking on the brake, of course, because it's an A-Class truck and they're not allowed brakes, and that's what's showing up now. The wheels on the top side just spinning out of control with no forward motion. Welcome back to the National Four-Wheel Drive Championships, round 4 at Taupo.
If we finish the day, we use a lot of petrol, but I'm having trouble finishing the day. I keep crashing and breaking it.
Track 26 is the Bog Run. Now it's a very short one, up and down a couple of times and into the muck. So let's have a look at the first competitor. It's Martin Walton. A bit of chat going on here as they decide the best line. Here we go. And nail it! Whoa! Up in the air and on the steering, everything flies loose.
Very lucky to be on it early on, I think. Yeah. So
There's some big holes in there.
big holes, pretty deep. So we'll take the advantage while we got it.
If you can't walk on it, it's going to be pretty hard to drive on it. So let's see what Steve Lacey can do. Here it comes in the Suzuki. But not enough grunt. 20 points.
Just foot flat to the floor. And out for the best. Yep. Go as far as you can.
Now Norm's an old campaigner. Fires himself into the bog with all the power he can muster. That's a 2-litre fuel injected Toyota. And that's also 20 points. Alan Nielsen. Alan's from the Mount Egmont Club and the Xtreme machine. He fires it in there. But it's all over.
Don't slow down.
Don't slow down.
Don't slow down.
What about Ian Smith from Mount Egmont? That's a C-Class Suzuki. It's got a 4AGE. That's a pretty popular engine amongst the Suzuki clans, but no avail. Not enough grunt. Let's have another look at where we could drive. What a mucky business. Warren Day, one of the kings of the mountain. He gets the nose up, but he can't pull it out of there. The crowd just love watching this, and here comes Kevin from the Wairarapa. He's got the big Chev in here, and he's giving it what for. No, never mind, he still managed to get past the 10-point peg. Here comes the Delberg family. That's Russell in the big V8 powered special. Whoa, as he fires them out in the air, manages to get through and gets the 10-pointer as well. Ash and Heather Major doing it what for in the Chevy powered truck. See the big 20? Yeah, that's their score. On the end of the rope, and out they go. Steve Thomason from Mount Egmont. He's in the little Pajero. It's supercharged. Trying the left-hand side. And that's 10 points.
There's only two things in 2 litre, mate. That's milk and orange juice. That ain't for me. She ain't got 8 cylinders, she ain't mine.
400 Chevy.
Yeah, well, it's got the big V8 in there, though, so they're giving it what for. He's sucking a little bit down the valve guides. The Cowley hire truck driven by Andrew Graham. Powering it into the bog, but it's a 10-pointer.
It is cool, that mud. Beautiful.
Track 27 is an up and down affair, finishing as quite often is the case with a very, very difficult climb at the end. First up, we've got one of the top guns, and it's Brendan James with Scott Richmond at the brakes. So let's see what they're doing. The marshals line them up. Working up over the hump now. This is a very nasty steep ditch, and then keep the car going up over the top. Well, he hooked a peg on the way out of there, so that's 10 points. Phil Comwell from the Windy City, nice and smooth through the first bit. Trying to get up, whoa, cocking a leg up, time to get out of here, 10 points as well.
20 years, mate, we've been doing this for 20 years.
Archie and Linda Griffin from the South Waikato, smoothly through the first section. Can he get it over the top? Not enough grip on those tyres, eh? Never mind, he managed to get past the 10-pointer. Here comes our little standard Suzuki. The RMD Transport, Suzuki Vitara. Working their way up the hill. Well, that's not a bad effort considering the technology that's available to them. So they'll get 20 points. And of course we're looking at Phil Bayliss and Blair Allen from the Windy City as well. Whoa! Stuck the nose of the old cruiser up in the air there. 20 points.
Well, it was a bit exciting when the front was in the air, but oh well, you can't let that worry you.
Dave and Jetty hits. That's got the big V8 in. Whoop, up over the top. And not quite through the blue pegs though, so that's 10 points. Brian Howard from Wellington in the Range Rover. Who thought you'd bring one of these out here? Well, Brian does.
What engine have you got?
Just Rover V8.
Rover V8, dead standard, stock standard?
Yeah, just standard Rover V8.
Good show. How are you doing so far today?
Not very well. We're having fun though.
All the way from Wongaway in the Cowley hire machine. Straight over the top. He cauliflowered the blue peg, but he didn't knock it down.
That was good, mate. Real good.
Dave Toohey with Ant at the brakes. And clean out over the top, but they took some pegs on the way, so that's 20 points.
It's cracked a piston. That's what that knock is.
Are you keeping on?
Yeah, we'll carry on until the motor falls out.
Here we go. Theo Strambrook in the supercharged V6 Holden powered special. Like he's out for a Sunday drive.
How's it going today?
Yeah, it's going all right. Everyone's made a bigger effort. The trucks are getting better. The driving caliber's increased as well. So yeah, it's getting better every year.
Welcome back to the National Four-Wheel Drive Championships, round 4 at Taupo.
I think it's probably one of the only sports that us tinkering Kiwis can get in the back of a shed. For me, it was It's not really doing the sport, it's building the truck from nothing and going all the way out and becoming a national champ.
It's a really good sport to get into, and you can go in an entry-level vehicle that's quite cheap, or you can go out there and spend quite a bit of money and get up there with the top ones. But on a good day, a cheap vehicle can still sometimes pull one out of the hat and win.
What we're involved in at a competition level is far removed from the vehicles that we see on the road. We are mad, but it's absolutely safe. Scrutineering is an important feature of our sport. All of the vehicles, you'll notice, have very substantial roll cages. The mechanical safety is an important feature. Things like steering, brakes, we have full harness, seat belts. Every driver will have a good helmet. Trials vehicles, I think, are quite unique. If you go to Britain, you'll see similar events being held, but to my mind, they're probably 15 to 20 years behind where the Kiwi driver currently is.
Track 29's got absolutely everything. This would be one of the more technical tracks of the day. It's up and it's down and it's around. It includes sidings as well as climbs and Whoopdeedoo. So let's get into the action with the lady on top, Angela Mead. Lining it up and off we go through the first part of the course. I'm stuck. Well, she doesn't want to get stuck down this one. Steadily up the first part of the climb. That worked pretty well. Keep it under control as we come down through the gully there, and now we've got to come up around the Sideling. So watch this, very, very gentle, trying to hook it round. Oh, what a shame.
Oh, it was a bit tricky. That was what we aimed for though, we weren't going to get all the way through. Yeah, need four-wheel steer to get all the way through. 40
points for Angeline. In Templeton from the South Waikato, working the Suzuki down the hill and up the other side. Not enough get up and go to achieve that one, so that's going to cost him 90 points. Steve Goodell gets underway. This is one of our top drivers in the competition. Brownie at the controls on the brakes there. As they work it around. Steve's not known to be too timid. He gets on with the job. And got to ease it down the hill now. Working it very nicely past the pegs that Angelina got caught on. He's making this look far too easy as he cleans the course.
Oh, I wouldn't call it easy, challenging still. It's a bit slippery in there now, you're sliding around a bit, so it's good.
Absolutely, big zero for Steve. Dennis and Katie Lee in the D-Class Land Cruiser. Far too gentle on their approach to the first hill, and it caught them out big time. That's going to cost them 100 points. We have Steve now. They're looking pretty smart there in the Toyota Blizzard. It doesn't look like a Toyota Blizzard to me, but of course that's what they would have used as a base to build this interesting looking vehicle. They're C-Class, so that's running the 4-cylinder engine of the Blizzard, working the way around the top part of the course, keeping clear of the yellow pegs there on the left. Ruth is in the cruise seat and she's just working the brakes gently, but took the yellow peg there, so that's 50 points. John McGonaghy and Greg Ballard at the brakes. That's how you get up the first hill. Very, very well done as they work their way around the top part of the course now. Now you've got to just take it a little bit easy so that you can control it as you slip and slide sideways as they did. No problem there so far. Out through the top of the course, and that's a zero for John McConaughey. Track 32 has it all. We've got a little bit of Whoopdeedoo, we've got a siding, then straight out through the top in the power climb. So this has got to be the hazard for the horsepower plenty in Graham Kingston's Lexus-powered V8 Cruiser. Rolling through the first part of the course, round the siding and nailing it up the hill. Wahey! Up in the air. That's pretty rough on the machinery, but he gets the job done for a big zero.
Oh, it's a lot more power, yeah. Give it heaps.
Steve Goodell and Pete Brown from Papakura. Here they come over the first bit, round the siding, and Steve will nail it. Way, there he goes. Plenty of air under the truck as he heads through the zero.
Well done, Steve.
Hamish, of course, has always been different, and different it is as he picks a line totally outside the others. It's working his way up the left-hand side of the course like he's looking for somewhere to have a picnic. But don't ever underrate Hamish. He works his way through there and drops back into the course. He's working it hard. Yes, he does it. He managed to get out through the pegs.
Yeah, a bit of a different angle. Good.
Well, it's a long way down as we look down to Ray and Karen Morris. There's no shortage of power, but it's a crazy line. And they knocked down the blue peg on the way out.
It's tight and twisty. You really got to worry about where you're putting the truck. But yeah, that's good as gold. Good as gold. Plenty of grip.
Yeah, that's a 10-pointer for Ray and Karen. There's Unkovic from Counties as he's worked his way over the first section. He's in the E-Class truck. He doesn't have all the traction goodies of the big guys. He works his way up the left-hand side of the course. 20 points for Les. Bruce McGovern, last on the course. Watch him nail it up the hill. Plenty of air. Straight up through the three pegs for a 0 for Bruce and Bryce.
Yeah, loud pedal right to the floor. That's the way to do it. Hang on after that.
Results for the day see Theo Spanbrook. Second place goes to the Cowley Hire sponsored truck of Andrew Graham. Third place, Steve Goodell from Auckland.
We had a good morning at a clear run. The afternoon was, well, I felt a lot tighter, and a few things where the truck just sort of slipped into pegs and that, so we grabbed a few points there, but it was still enough to do it, so we were very pleased with that.